Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Where I Went Right. And in this edition of Where I Went Right, I'll be doing Where I Went Right, UFC Fight Night, Rozenstruik versus Almeida. Or you can say UFC on ABC4, Rozenstruik versus Almeida. So yeah, I went what 10 of 11, 10 and 1. So where I went right. But yeah, intro out the way, you know what the video is. And the title can change and be this and be that. It could be where I went wrong. It could be where I went right. It could be first look, last look. It could be UFC recap. It could be whatever I want it to be. This is not like a series where I'm getting sponsored by this betting site. I'm not getting sponsored by this, getting sponsored. Well, none of these videos are. I'm not getting sponsored by anyone. But yeah, it's not a case I'm getting sponsored, so I got to hold to some certain name to get some check for that. So it's my channel. I could do whatever I want to be. I could be humble and be the doodle where I went wrong and stuff. Then people take that and go with it, whatever they want to go with it. Be like, oh my God, this guy's wrong every week. Instead of just like, oh, watch the video. Wait, he actually went 10 and 1, or he actually went 9 and 3, or something like that. This guy's went through the whole first quarter of the year with like 72%. Then he had 3 weeks where he was 500. Now he's back with like 80% last week and now 90% this week. So like, stupid people gonna do stupid things. So I ain't gonna give them the fuel to be stupid. I'm gonna play y'all just how y'all wanna play the game. Y'all wanna do y'all little thing, I guess, to counter program or whatever dumb stuff y'all like to do out of just throw a little nitpicking stuff out there to try to create some dumb narrative. Like I say, it might look it might not come off with some big thing like, oh, they made a whole video off it or they making a whole thread off it. But people do like to, like I said, do a little program thing, drop little comments to try to do something. You start to see other people start to, hive mind, start to shift to dumb thoughts. But the proof's already out there. Whatever your favorite predictor is, like 99.9% of the times I'm better than your favorite predictor. If it's not me, I'm just being honest. It's not even no bragging. It's literally I'm better than your favorite predictor. If that's what you're trying to go with, or whatever you're trying to do, or maybe you a burner account or burner accounts for some other YouTuber. I know that has happened before. I've been on this thing for like 70 years, so I've seen just about everything. So I know people be trying to do that. And then other people are like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see this. But yeah, I just said a bunch of stuff in like 5 seconds, speaking like I'm doing my 2 minute or less videos I used to do. But yeah, all I'm trying to say is like the whole point of this video, or at least the title is just to like throw some reprogramming back out there, just to be annoying to the people that's trying to make something out of nothing, or trying to be annoying, just trying to be extra, trying to throw backhanded compliments. Just be backhanded, just be weird. So like y'all gonna be weird about stuff. Hey, I could be a little bit weird too, and I'm gonna just change the title instead of like this being that humble thing, like where it's where I went wrong, or this the thing where I just try to make it neutral. Let's go full on positive and say where I went right just for this video, especially since I went 10 and 1, which is a solid card. And yeah, let's get into that. So it's really not a whole lot to even talk about because again, even though I'm gonna say this weird, even if this video is titled where I went right, it's still really just where I went wrong. It's the same video, just a different concept. I mean, the title just changed. It's still the same thing because I'm not gonna focus on where I went right too much. I focus on where I went wrong, so I'd be better and better, make improvements. Where instead of focusing on where I went right, I know where I went right at. It's where I went wrong is where I can improve at. So the video again is titled where I went right. Just to poke those people back. Shut them up even more. Like they trying to like even when you right, you could go like matter of fact, it'd be a perfect card. They'll find a way to try to give you a backhanded compliment or try to discredit you in some way. But yeah, just like I said, it's just it's jabbing you back. It's a little light jab instead of giving y'all a whole little. I'm so mad. I hate you guys. I got some bums. Getting like stupid. It's just like intellectual, a light little jab. And I don't have to do it discreet. I can say it. I can say I'm jabbing you. You still don't get that jab. Still gonna connect. Y'all can't box. I'll jab you up all day. So y'all can't fight. Y'all can't do this. Y'all can't predict. Y'all can't do nothing. So at the end of the day, I'm still in control. I'm still the best. I'm still in control. And yeah, I do whatever I want to y'all because can't be me no facet of life. So yeah, let me do it the intellectual way. I'll say exactly what I'm doing to you, and I'll still do it to you, and you have nothing. That's the biggest thing you could ever get. Somebody can literally say that, still be better than you every way, and still say in the face what they're gonna do to you, then do it right to you, and you can't do nothing about it but except be mad. So yeah, let me get to the one wrong was Stanman versus Douglas Silva de Andrade, and I could just say, oh, it was a bad judge and this bad data, but I guess if you could try to say where I went wrong with this one is, I did notice that Cody Stanman over the past couple of years, his striking has been improving. Even this fight, he lost, but you saw his striking and it looks much cleaner than, when he was a debuting fighter or even 2-3 years ago, even 4 years ago, etc. His striking looks a lot cleaner. And his takedown activity, his takedown rate has dropped significantly over the years. I know at first he was almost a guy going for almost like what 10 takedowns a fight. Now it's kind of dropped down to like 3, 4. And I think this one he shot like 3 or 4, scored like 2 or 3 or something like that. And then like the first round, again, what happened was like I think it was like eye poke or something. The fight got stood up, and that could definitely have shifted the narrative of that first round. Like imagine if he was able to get a minute on top, 2 minutes on top, a minute 30, even 30, 40 seconds on top without the ref. He got fouled, and then he got his position lost. So imagine his opponent had to carry his weight for a good chunk of time. Then that might have carried over to the second round. Then he would have had a better worker in the second round, had a more tired opponent, could have picked the shots better. His opponent's rate would have dropped, and then he might have even been able to get an easier takedown in the second round. Then the third round would have probably been like easy peasy takedown, just give me takedown. Like this guy is tired, been carrying you for 2 rounds, versus like you get a takedown and then you force to stand back up after you get fouled. So you got poked in the eye, and now you dealing with that. You can act like, well, I'm a robot. I'm a superhuman dude. I train so hard, but that eye poke gonna affect you. That nut kick gonna affect you. You can train all you want to train. You can act like it's not gonna affect you, but that affects you, especially in a fight where it's close, competitive. And then even then, all the fouls and getting in position, it was still a very close fight. He almost finished him in the third round. So it was a very close fight. I ain't gonna say like, oh, some people literally, even if it's the worst decision in the world, you still should not act like your pick was right. At the end of the day, the judges are the deterrent factor. I've seen people on IG, mark their pick right, even though the judges said it was wrong. Like the judges said other guy. Like I'm never gonna be that person. I'll do my where I went wrong, even if I feel the pick should have been the right one, and the judges saw it the wrong way. I might say, yeah, I don't feel like it's the best decision, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna own that decision. I mean, that's the decision of the judges. And even if I get it right, and it's a bad decision, I'll say, yeah, it was a bad decision, but hey, I got it right. When it's right, it's right. When it's wrong, it's wrong, and I'm gonna take it either way. And just like try to see, how to judge. Like, I remember that period of time when Russian fighters were getting, shafted on decisions. So I was like, yeah, this right now they kind of like on close fights, you gotta kind of lean the opposite of the Russians, because right now they having like a little political judging right now. So you gotta go above and beyond sometimes, or kind of look beyond to get the right predictions sometimes. So you can't always like say at the end of the day, like the shot went in. And that is what it is. And I'm talking 7 minutes in this video, but at the end of the day, it's my video. I can talk however I want to talk. If you find this interesting or not, whatnot, and you're in it, it is what it is. And I feel like I haven't even really got to the people just been annoying and weird over these past over the last 2 weeks. The 3 weeks they weren't really saying us. They were like kind of like quiet. And the moment you start getting back on the street, they start talking, they start chirping. Like last week, they were like some idiot was like, you win. It was all favorites. Like when literally the co-main event and main event were both dogs that I picked correctly. I picked Sterling, he was a dog. I picked Bilal, he was a dog. Matter of fact, I picked Bilal pretty much on his whole run. Outside of the Wonder Boy fight, I picked him in to beat Luque in a rematch. And I picked him to beat who else he beat? Oh, I picked him to beat I forget the dude name, but Sean Brady, and I picked Dick in here. So yeah, like people still, and the same people were still saying like, oh, he only won because he was injured. Like, nah, he got injured fighting him basically for the most part, and he was injured coming to the fight. So like I said, people make a bunch of excuses and anything to try to discredit you or do a little jab. Like, it was a good card, but it was easily predictable. Like you probably went like 70%, 60%, which is not bad at all, but it's the fact that you feel like you gotta discredit me. But yeah, I'm gonna pretty much wrap it up here. Well, not here, as far as to actually focus on the true theme of this video is in getting better, or maybe with this one it's a little bit different. I already focused on this whole video where I did focus on the actual card and stuff, not the peanut gallery and whatnot. But I'm gonna give the peanut gallery a good bit of bit more video content. Matter of fact, most of the video is gonna be attributed or directed to the peanut gallery. But focus on actual video stuff. I'm gonna wrap that all up right here, probably the next 2-3 minutes. Then probably 10 minutes of entertaining the peanut gallery. So yeah, so let me say where the good thing about where I went right. So the positive side is the picking the dogs there. So 3 or 4 dogs. I think it was 6. Like I think it was 6 dogs initially on this card, but I think Walker shifted to a favorite, like a small favorite on the right up on the fight, and Lisboa shifted to a small favorite right up on the fight night. But 4 remained. I think it was like Battle, Bomb, Brown, And the other one was Douglas Silva Andrade, and I hit 3 of the 4. So solid night, no matter how you try to say. No matter how you try to say, oh, it was this, it was that, it was a favorite this, it was a favorite that. In actuality, it was probably more dogs hitting on this card than average. Because on average, it's like 2 to 3 dogs hit a card in the UFC. Bellator is different. It's like 8 out of 10 probably the dogs gonna hit. UFC is like 2 to 3 out of like maybe 10 or 12 will hit. And then some nights you might get like, even like, I think the worst as far as it was for dogs was probably that card John Jones was on, and Valentina was the only the only favorite to lose. And the only dog was But outside that, it's like 2 to 3 on average, and sometimes you get those 4 or 5, sometimes, but mostly it's like 2 to 3. That's where you're trying to get that sweet spot. You're trying to try to hit those 2, 3, and try to chase that perfect card or whatnot. But so I hit 3 or 4 of the dogs that did hit, like dogs on Pond fight night, like when they were upon entering the cage, before entering the cage, whatnot, the day of. I went 3 or 4 of the dogs on the card, so that's solid though. So you can't take that away from me, no matter how you want to take it, no matter how much of a contrarian you want to be, no matter how much of a nuisance you want to be, no matter how backhanded you want to be, you can't take that away from somebody. And again, I'm just giving y'all the attention that y'all want, I guess, in a video concept, so you can record it, you can save it, you can put it on your put it in GIF form and put it on your wall or whatnot, so now you feel seen and noticed after being ignored for like months and months. You're getting some attention, so here you go. But so let me focus again. I'm getting off topic, but hey, this is kind of a rambling video. It's just like where you went wrong, where you went right, and just circle through them, think about them, talk about them. But with the Bond fight, like let's talk about the dog that won. The Bond fight, I just knew that Kim was like not the best fighter, and obviously you could say like Kim would have won if not she didn't mentally check out several times in the fight. She would have won. But again, it was just one of the things where that was a fill-in pick. So I'm gonna use some humility right now. That was a fill-in pick. I ain't gonna say like, oh my gosh, I was so smart to pick Bomb. It was a fill-in pick. Like Kim was riding like a 4-fight losing streak. Bomb was riding like a 2-fight losing streak. But both her losses were different. Like she got out-struck and she got out-grappled. Kim is not really the smartest fighter. She's a slow lurch. People like she looks slow. She always looks slow. She's a slow lurch. That's her motto. That's her motive. She's a slow lurch. She got a little bit of power in her hands, but it ain't that much power. So, like I said, she did hurt her. But again, low fight IQ, slow lurching zombie, and like it just leaves a lot of options. Well, it leaves a lot to be desired. And I feel like Bomb can edge her away. Like the fight obviously didn't go exactly how I picked. Matter of fact, not really how anyone really predicted it. But again, it was a mediocre fight, and in mediocre fights, it's kind of just smarter to just lean to the fighter who maybe not on as much of a losing streak and got at least not as bad momentum. But it was a slide fight, so it's not like I could say, oh my gosh, it was so this, so that. It was just, again, that was a feeling pick, so I ain't gonna be like, oh my gosh, I was so smart to that. That's not me saying this like bragging or nothing. Another thing, it's not like when I post literally every single week my results from my picks. I'm not just out here, betting 1,000 different bets, and then I'll come on here and post in my 2 slips I cashed on. Like, that's not me. If, like I said, if it's anything I'm post, I'm gonna post you the full in depth. I ain't gonna just post the good stuff. I'm gonna post the bad, the good. So it's not like I'm ever like, why are you always bragging? Like, I remember when I started doing my posting the community post for like my results for the card and stuff. I already know I post the fight videos, so you could just add them up yourself. But it made it a little bit easier. I start posting my results like every week, when I'm bad or good. Like I kind of give my little dots on them, and I post my picks. Like circle to like what I got right, what I got wrong. So it's not a case of I'm just going here, I'm only posting when I do good. I post literally bad or good, and I get my thoughts good or bad on the card and whatnot. And that's UFC. I'm not talking about Bellator. I'm talking about UFC. Particularly, that's something I do with UFC picks. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say out there. So this energy be weird when I see it. And then the other one was I'm just gonna talk about the 3 dogs. Then the second one was, I think, Brown versus McGee. And I already said it was 2 veterans. It's not like one guy's older, one guy was older, but it's not like he's so much older. They're both in the same bracket, and it was style matchup. McGee might do right now in his career, does well against guys that are grapplers that maybe a little bit less experienced, or maybe grapplers in general and less experienced fighters, and getting grapplers in general and lesser experienced fighters. Matt Brown is a striker, and I feel like McGee's offensive grappling wasn't all that great to begin with. And I feel like Matt Brown should have been able to address it and pick him apart, put him away. I say put him away. I say decision. but he put him away. But nonetheless, I just feel like stylistically wise, that fight favored Brown, especially with McGee coming off a knockout loss. So I don't see why the odds were they were, and I don't know why the sharps y'all who y'all love so much, or I don't even know who these people are. These people like mysterious people. But I could pick up with people talking about the sharps are all on McGee. Look at the line. I want to stick with McGee. Y'all were like the sharps are like weirdos in a way, because I feel like the people kind of lean the so-called sharps are people that just like look at numbers, and they might feel like I'm a person who looks at numbers, but I really don't look at numbers like that. Like like the people they do, like they literally try to do like make a formula. It's not about really looking and understanding how fighters are. It's about understanding the numbers and the flow of numbers. So they see that McGee is sticking at like 180, so they think like that's what's sharp, and then y'all be like, this guy's so good. Nah, that guy's a number punching moron. That's literally what he is. All those dudes are number punching morons. They can't see, like, matter of fact, I don't know, maybe do they even watch MMA to see who Matt Brown is and who Court McGee is, and stylistically wise, how this was a fight that was heavily favored heavily favored Matt Brown stylistically. I don't know. But hey, y'all gonna get on me, but y'all gonna get on these number punching sharps that don't really even watch MMA. They just come on here, bet like every single sport there is, and just like try their best to be a computer. So yeah. I'm trying to think of who the third one was. Oh, Battle. That was probably the first one. Brian Battle versus. And I would say that this is kind of more of a fill-in pick as well. I feel like 2 of the 3 dogs that I did pick, I feel like were more fill-in picks. Matt Brown, that's like anytime you get a veteran that you've been watching since you were like forever, like over a decade, it feel like those are probably the easier matches to pick up, because you've been watching guys literally fight since Matt Brown was on Ultimate Fighter and whatnot. So you know who he is, you know who McGee is. Matter of fact, watching McGee since he was on Ultimate Fighter as well. So you know who these fighters are, you know their strengths, their weakness. So that was like those sharp people who don't watch and follow MMA. That's like, I don't know what that line was. That line was weird. But these other people were like, again, you're dealing with these fighters that aren't very good, haven't really gone anywhere, probably never really gonna go anywhere. Like with the Baum and Kim fight, and with Battle and Green. Green's good, but I just feel like Green is a guy that's not gonna really elevate, and clearly after this fight, kind of really even further testifies that this guy really ain't gonna go very far. Like he's gonna be good, maybe a low level gatekeeper, like probably the lowest gate level you could be as a gatekeeper. It's kind of watching the entrance as new fighters come in, and maybe you could test them whether they like deserve to be in the UFC. If they can't beat you, they only deserve to be in the UFC. If you could beat them, kind of like I feel like he's like Gabe Green kind of fits in that mode, like the lowest level gatekeeper you could be, the keeper of the entrance, literally, and I thought it would be a case where it would go to a decision, but hey, another stoppage right there. I thought Battle would be able to just pick the better shots and land the flush shots, and he clearly landed the flush shots, but I didn't think it would have that big of effect. Not his dog, like Gabe Green's offensive, he's a good BJJ player, but his offensive and defensive wrestling pretty terrible. So I didn't think it would be a case he could go out there and really oppose his grappling on Battle. And all he really had the option to do, I guess, was try to be an aggressor on Battle, but that strategy failed him. But hey, decent to pick. That one right there wasn't fully just a feeling. I feel like Baum versus Kim, that was just a feeling. But this one was like, just based off style, I favored Battle, and I didn't see why he should have been a dog. I guess the biggest factor was the fact that maybe this was only like his second or third fight at welterweight, and it kind of factored in the other fight. But then again, like the guy he fought last athlete was a wrestler, whereas Gabe Green's a BJJ player. I don't think he has a wrestling background, and he don't look like he does, but he kind of probably trained some to it. But yeah, offensively and defensive wrestling, but Gabe Green's not a great wrestler. So you can think about his last fight was going to factor into this fight. It wasn't, and it didn't. And obviously also got ended so quick. Maybe it could have, but it ended before you saw it. But yeah. And I'm gonna focus on the main event, or co-main event. I'm gonna say about the co-main event. Johnny Walker would still get knocked out in the first round by Jamal Hill. Decent performance from him, but definitely nothing really to talk about. He still saw all the same holes in his game, and I think again Jamal Hill will flatline him once again. So I don't know why he's rushing to a title shot, but hey, maybe more money, maybe just to say he did it, but he would get flatlined again. Main event: Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Jelton Almeida. Almeida went out there and did what he does, and it just continues to show that most of these heavyweights can't grapple to save their life right now. This is like one of the weirder, because if you look at some of the old OG heavyweights, like even back in the 90s, or like late 90s, early 2000s, you saw a lot of like Barnett's, you saw Rodrigo, like Antonio Minotauro Nogueira and whatnot, and you saw Fedor, you saw these heavyweights actually had grappling, and were doomed to some extent because he kind of came later 2000s. But yeah, it's so weird that these modern heavyweights can't grapple to save their lives. They could try a little bit, but their grappling is so terrible right now. Like, how you go from like it's supposed to evolve over time, like, but now you look at '90s and 2000, even early 2010, like they were further along than these heavyweights in 2023. Like, that's how do you go backwards? How y'all acting like cavemen and they back then? Matter of fact, some of the heavyweights had better grappling than some of the lighter weights at the time. Yeah, all these BJJ world champions and whatnot and stuff, and wrestling standouts and stuff, and gold medalists and stuff. Now, like, what is this? Grappling is terrible in the heavyweight division for the most part. It's probably like it's like 4 people that could grapple in the whole heavyweight division. Like, terrible. But anyway, Jota made it look good. But hey, you going there with a guy that can't got no grappling skills, and right now it's gonna look good for his career. Like, he's going out, he's this Terminator. He keep winning, he winning. The same way with Sergey Pavlovich. Like, but it's like in the grappling sense versus the striking sense. You can run through the division, but eventually, just run through the division couldn't easily end up backfiring. Because now you fight some of the guy that's not gonna fall over for you, and then now you tired or whatnot. Like, the takedown's not coming no more. Now you got a guy that's actually moving. Maybe a guy that takes you down and puts you on your back and stuff. You fight a more well-rounded fighter who's skilled and has accomplished more, etc., etc. And then you put in a bad spot and you ain't never been trained for it. Like, you probably been in the gym, but when you in there in the cage, got the bright lights on you, and the person ain't just getting laying over and getting tapped out, it's gonna be rough for you. Just like Pavlovich, when a guy ain't gonna be standing there to hit by one of your big sloppy hooks or sloppy overhands, you just look out there with mouth breathing, you're gonna look real stupid, look real sad. I say it's cool and all, look good. The accolades still the accolades, and you getting these record finishes, but sometimes those reps are needed. They definitely need to go in with a tough fighter, probably got an iron chin or something that's gonna have to sting you. Like, you're gonna have to find ways to win the fight, maybe when you're tired or whatnot. When you don't have those reps in there, it backfires. That's why you see these boxers and whatnot, they be fighting like 40 fights before they fight anyone good. They go in and fight these tough journeymen, go fight this former great fighter who's like 40 years old, still got the skills, but ain't got the cardio, ain't got the body they used to have, the stuff, the whereabouts, but they got the mental and whatnot. And they get their reps in there, so they be prepared when they do have those fights in those situations. And again, Almeida and Pavlovich ain't getting no reps they need. Pavlovich got his butt whooped by Overeem, but since then he hasn't really got the reps that he need to, really help him with. He is put in a situation where he has to dig deep. Like I said, you haven't been there, it's gonna be hard to do that. So yeah, that's all I'll say. As far as Jota Almeida, he definitely would. I would hope he gets some reps in there, like goes in there with some decent heavyweight before he gets jumped up there, and then he fights a guy that can actually address his grappling to some extent, and make him had to be more than one dimensional or show more dimensions of his game. But to rush too fast, he will burn out. Yeah, and Jairzinho Rozenstruik, we already know he's not gonna be no champion, but he could definitely knock a lot of folks out. It's not like most people in this weight class can even grapple, so he'll be good. Will he win no belt? He's not challenging for no belt. He's not winning no belt, but he can knock plenty of these folks out in this weight class who just don't have any grappling skills at all, just like him. So yeah, and that's all my talk down. Back to the peanut gallery. I'll just say this. My final thoughts for the peanut gallery is, yeah, it was just weird. Like, I just saw a lot of just random people just come on like, oh, your pick's usually bad. Like, what are you even talking about? I'm usually pretty solid and stuff. Like I said, up until April, I literally probably had one card that was like 6-5 or something, and out of those, I think not a single card fell below 70% for that whole first from January, February, March, and then I went on the skid like pretty much all April, but I didn't fall below 500. And I skidded back up, and I was getting 80% and like 70, probably like 75% and like 90.9% for this card. So I'm the most consistent fighter. I'm not saying consistent fighter. I'm the most consistent. What are you even saying? I'm the most consistent predictor out there, and that's a year. And I've been on this thing for like 8 years, and that's my strongest thing. I'll never be that home run hitter, get all the picks right. But you're gonna say a guy that never really dips off, and it's be like 2-8 this week, 3-10, 1 in this. Like, as far as like UFC predictions, I'm never that guy. Like, I'm always like always consistent. My averages through the years are consistent and that stuff. So you can try and make this little narrative, and people just like trying to put stuff out there and hoping other people would draw on because they just, for whatever reason, whatever agenda they're trying to do is like. And then like same way with this agenda, I'm start saying you start to see other people bite on it because people keep saying it, and they just like try to jump on it and start to say the same thing, whether they mad they had a bad card or whatnot. Like, start saying it was one little, like maybe 1, 2, 3 annoying people that come like every single week. Like, you might as well be a fan, you might as well be subscribed. Maybe you are subscribed, but they come every single week and be like all favorites. Like, I could go like 9 or 10 or 9 of 11 and get like pretty much most of the dogs on the card, they still be like, we talking about favorites. You could say that every single card now will be correct because in UFC, it's probably gonna be one of, in fact, like probably 3, 4 fights cards out the year where it's gonna be more dogs than favorites hitting in the UFC. Bellator again, different story. UFC, it's that sweet spot where you want to hit those. You try to chase those 2, 3 dogs, or try to find the right 2, 3 dogs out the card. And even outside that, I'm not gonna say, oh, I just think like, let me just click all favorites. Let me see what 2, 3 dogs. That's not how I do. I just look at the pick generally first and see who I think gonna win. If I get to the end of it and I just feel like, matter of fact, before even checking odds or anything, I'll just look at the card for what it is and make my initial predictions. And then I think in that it will be probably already be at least 1 dog, 1 or 2 dogs in there. Then I probably maybe do a standing. Do I need a 3rd dog in here, or do I see a 3rd potential? Or maybe I go through it and maybe I have 1. Maybe it'd be a case where I go through all cards, through all the fights, and then I see, I got no dogs on this card. It's always gonna be at least 2, 3 dogs biting on the card. So, I feel this guy can win. I feel this girl can win right here. I see this way. I see this. Let me look at. I see it now. That's how I go about it. I don't go about like, look at the odds. Let me just select all these guys. I just need 2 dogs. That's not how I do. I do it based off. I find their styles typically. Especially when it's fighters that have more fights, you can see their styles, their weakness. Oh, this guy gets tapped out like no magny. Every time he fights the BJJ black belt, he gets tapped out like first round. He gets schooled. They just cut them like butter. That's not me just picking a favorite because he's a favorite. I'm picking him because stylistically wise as well, this guy has lost not 100% of times to this style or something like that. So yes, that's kind of how I go through it. The other thing is like kind of like the final touches. That's when I start focusing on that. When it's the final touch, like I do need to adjust this. Let me see who else can potentially bite. All right, that's like literally my final thing. It's not my first. It's like my final thing. Similar to this card, you saw with the before I go wrong or with first look with the Mandy Bomb or whatnot. I was like, Kim should win or Liz Bow as you want to do. Let me see. Maybe I adjust. I looked at it. They both could bite. So that's what's switching. Those fill-in picks, And yeah. But anywho, don't be that person that's be like, oh, favorite, because you can literally say that about anyone. And don't be that idiot just picking favorites. And that's not me subbing or dubbing anyone. Boy, if that's how you go about it, that's you. And that's the shoe fits. It does. But like this don't be that idiot that's going out there just chasing value. It'd be plenty of people on Twitter and IG and this not who just chase value, like again, number people, those sharp people, the not so sharps, who just chase number like, oh, he's a dog, oh, he's plus 1,000. And they don't have no logic behind that pick. They just pick him because he's plus 1,000 because they're chasing the value. And let's add finish. Now he's plus 2 million. Wait, at that point it's like you can't go wrong, I guess. I don't know. But it's not no logic behind it. What's logic behind it, but it's not no actual study behind it. It's just you chasing numbers. And a lot of people go back up and y'all going to fail far more than you're going to succeed at that point. But I guess you fell into all these times hoping to hit that jackpot like you're playing the lottery instead of actually looking at the fighters, understanding the fighters, and, having a consistent outcomes. And that's me. I have consistent outcomes. I'm the most consistent guy out here. I'm going to have the prettiest content as far as like, oh, I have a layout with my name, King Crowd done lit up over here. I'm going to have a whole little system where I play little games. I take your money and run off with it. I'm not that. Like, I'm not the lock of the night. I'm not that. I don't have a British accent or whatnot. But again, better than probably every single year, probably about, as far as people on the two, it might be people that fluctuate, it might be a guy or 2, 3, maybe better than me, like overall with average. Probably like 3 people, like as far as actually in the game, 3 average. And then consistently, I'm probably always that guy, like in that spot, like among the best. Like it's not that I have a good year, I have a bad year. Like my years, every year I'm right there. Those people above me might fluctuate, but I'm always in the same spot or the best. So you want the best content, you want the best predictions, you are in the right place. That's all I'm trying to say. And that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.